Hello and welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage and today we're going to be having a look at Polkadot. Before we jump into the TA, I'd just like to say thank you for watching the video. If you're enjoying the content, please smash that like button. Hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel and you'd like to be kept up to date with all sorts of altcoin reviews and BTC and ETH daily. So yeah, hit that subscribe button. Also, leave us some feedback down below. Let us know your thoughts. What do you think is happening within the markets? Do you think we've set a low? Do you think we've got more price action to the downside to come? We're always happy to hear from you guys. Okay, so let's get into the chart. So there's a few things I want to talk about before we get into the micro movements here. So I'm going to actually come back out onto the daily. So there's two ways that I've been looking at this move for DOT to the downside. So we can read it as either a W, X, Y, and then potentially looking for this X and a Z wave to the downside. For the most part, this could actually complete here, and we could be starting a different structure to the upside. However, it is also possible that we could be only halfway through this Z wave, which is looking to potentially target out this $2.80 at a 1-to-1. And what that would be looking for is that within this structure, we could just form an A B wave and then look to push down one more time. We might not get all the way to this 1-to-1, but it is still a possibility. So this is the one way that we're looking at it. So we're currently tracking for the potential of a breakout to the upside for in case this has actually completed into this low point here, and effectively we're starting to move away. And this is the beginning of a new trend. Though we need to also bear in mind there is another way of looking at this, which is a more bearish alternative, where we're actually looking at this as a potential 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're actually still within a third wave here. We can substitute this slightly and have an extension within this wave 1 into this low point here. And basically what would count as this whole move as a 1, 2 into there. But then what we would be looking for is the fact that our third wave would have to end here, and that we would be looking to end in a diagonal. Because of this extension within the wave 1, this wave 3 wouldn't really have to get to that 1.618, so it is a possible alternative. So what I'm currently tracking is basically these two options here currently. So this option is rather looking at the potential that we're having a expanding diagonal within this final move here. So we need to be careful, because what we've already come up and crossed this wave 1 now. This wave 4 is actually bigger than this wave 2. Wave 3 is longer than wave 1. So it's met all the criteria so far. So if we had to start to break down here, what I would be looking for is to actually swing and take these lows here and to have a structure that plays out as a 3-wave move. So a zigzag to the downside effectively. If this is a expanding diagonal, basically what we would have to do is be longer than this wave 3. So I'm just speculating from saying that we've had a completed move here. But if we have completed to the upside here and we're actually looking to start breaking down, we would have to travel to at least this 30708 zone to make this valid as a expanding diagonal, like what we've got marked out here. So that's just something that we need to talk about on the macro. So there is a couple of possibilities. So I'm going to actually turn off these macro moves here, and we're going to go back down into the nitty gritty. One other thing that there is also a possibility of is the fact that we could actually see something play out like this, where this whole move here is actually developing as a triangle, and we would take this from back here as an A, B. We could look to form these internal legs here. So this is just a possibility. So if we had to form an A, B, and a C, basically not being able to break above this point of this 9680, and also holding above this low point here of this 4.224, what we could do is see some sideways range bound motions within this, where we actually form a triangle within this move. We'd have to be on the watch though, because if we're looking to form a triangle here, this could actually also be a Y wave triangle, and then we actually look to break to the upside. So this triangle could also be seen the other way around, where this is an A, B, C, D, E, and then we look to break up. So we got to keep both things in mind. So that's just some of the bigger plays here that could be at some of the bigger things that could be at play here. So we're going to go back into the smaller time frames. I'm going to just remove this, and we're going to go into the hourly. Let's get this. So there's two ways that I'm currently looking at this move. The thing that's worrying me a little bit is how it's reacted off of this zone. So I'm going to talk about this So we're talking about the potential of that diagonal. So if I turn on the short-term bearish option here, we can count this move in a potential impulsive way, but we can also count this as an A wave into here, a B wave down here, and basically looking for this C wave to the upside. So the C wave has actually come up and hit that 1.618, bang on the money pretty much. And now we've actually started to move away quite aggressively, to be fair. It's more aggressive than any other part of this move. So we just need to be aware that this could actually complete into this high point, and we could actually start to sell off from here. So the way that I would be looking at this, so there's a few things that we need to talk about. Obviously, we can't cross back above this $6.87 for this to be valid, and also can't cross above this 652.3. You'd have to look at this, if you wanted to try and count it as an impulse, you'd have to look at this as a diagonal in here, where this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 into this low point. So this would then become a wave 2, potentially, and then we'd actually be starting to look to form this wave 3. So confirmation of this wave 3 would actually come by breaking down past this 5.236 area. If we do start to break down here, effectively what we'd be looking for is confirmation by crossing this point, then looking for this fourth wave to play out to the upside. So the 382 would take us from this impulsive trigger to this 5.541 as a typical fourth wave move, and then we'd be looking to push to the downside. If we did actually play out as we have it marked here, what we'd be looking for is a potential move down into this 5164 to this 5053 zone. So this could be a potential area we look to target out if we get this this bearish alternative play out here, where we actually start to break down. So this is something we just got to bear in mind here. So within these structures here, it looks like it could also be extending here, where we look at this as a 1, 2. We've come down past that 1.618. So we need to see if we get evidence of this fourth wave. The thing is, within this move, basically where we're sitting right now, we've already come up to this 0.5. I wouldn't really want to see it come much higher than this. If it does, then we'd have to be aware that we could still count this as an impulse, but we'd have to look at it then as a 1, 2, 1, 2, or within this structure somewhere we actually have a 5-wave move. And what we're looking to do is actually move back up and find rejection in this zone here of this 0.5 to this 786. So if I actually slide this over here a little bit so it's easier to see the numbers, basically the 0.786 would be this 5.95. And that's basically where we'd want to see this go as a maximum to the upside. We wouldn't want to see it go higher than that if we're looking for this potential to the downside here. If we do face rejection here, then what we'd be looking for is, like I said, that continuation to the downside, looking to cross this 5236, and then that could be the start of our first leg of the continuation to the downside, where this becomes a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we'd have to look for that retracement for a B and then look to break down again. So we have tested this this trend line here, which is just drawn off of these two previous tops. So it'll be interesting to see whether we can actually manage to get it back above this, or whether this offers us some resistance and then we actually start to break down, because it is possible what we could see is we see this 5-wave move play out, then we come back up, retest this, get rejected, and then move back to the downside. So we've got to give it a bit of time for these moves to play out, but this is one of the options. So this is looking at the bearish potential. So like I said, we wouldn't expect to move past the $6.08. Again, what we'd be looking for is this is a 1, 2. It is possible that we can look at this play out as an A, a B, a C. We come up higher, we fail to cross this 652 zone, and then we look to break down from there. But basically, within the way I'm looking at here, I wouldn't really want it to come back up here, especially looking at this as a potential start of this wave 3. We want to face that rejection and look to break down here if that's the case. So I'm actually going to switch to the bullish potential here now. So we're having a look at both sides of this argument at the moment until we see one that is basically, the problem is within these. So what I need to kind of articulate here better is we have this potential for a bullish structure here, though we need to have evidence of this fourth wave. And what I mean by evidence of it is we have this zone here where we should find support if we have a fourth wave in this position. If we fail to hold this and it breaks down and we cross this zone here of this, let me just mark this out actually. We mark out this high point here. So if we cross down past this $5.08 basically we would invalidate this circled fifth wave to the upside here. And then alternatively moving lower down here, crossing this one would effectively invalidate this next 5-wave move. So it is possible that we've got an extension within here and basically that we are still within this third wave here that we've got marked out, but we could also have that bearish alternative. So what I want to see is evidence of this fourth wave. I want to see this hold this 50% zone that we currently already moved down to. We could come down a little bit more. A small wick past it is nothing too major, but I wouldn't want to see it get too low. And like I said, crossing this $5.083 would basically invalidate this fifth wave. But if we manage to hold this zone, what I'd then be looking for is a move to start to play out to the upside here with a 5-wave structure, and that would be looking for this to play out as a 1, 2, looking for a third, fourth, and a fifth to the upside. From that point, then we'd want to wait for additional confirmation of this fourth wave that we have here. Until these come in, we need to just be careful because there is potential for both sides of this argument here, and we can argue that we are going to start to break down from here. Alternatively, we could actually look to push up and break and sort of invalidate some of the more bearish alternatives here. But until we get the actual structure here, we have to just be careful because we're kind of sitting right in that zone where a breakdown would be likely. So if I actually come down, if I turn this off for a second and just talk about that, if we come back out here onto the daily, if we are looking for rejection based off of this entire move here to the downside, we've actually come up and we've hit that 50%. So we've hit that 50% and we've started to move away from it. And it's not to say that we can't move up higher here. It is possible that we could, like I said, this could be a start of a bullish structure where we actually look to break out or basically form this as an A, come back, find support, push up and find a B wave high. Basically, until we cross this high point of this $9.680, we have to allow for this continuation that we could see this as an A, B, and we look to break down. So we're kind of sitting right in the sweet spot. Even if we do move up slightly higher, this 0.618 actually sits quite well in line with this previous swing high that we had here. So it is possible that if we do look to continue to push up, the problem is there is a lot of resistance within this area. So we are managing to hold above some of these other points that we lost, but let's see, we have to see whether we actually continue to hold this and push up or whether we actually just face rejection off this area and then look to move back to the downside. So yeah, it's one of those, we got to give it a bit of time, but those are the two options that I'm currently looking at. So we're going to keep you updated once we get a bit more information in this. But basically within this, what we need to see is whether we actually get this fifth wave play out or if we actually start to break down. If we start to break down, we need to watch that impulsive trigger that we were talking about earlier. If we do move down past this 5236, effectively what I'd be looking for is actually this continuation to the downside in a 5-wave move. If we, however, manage to hold this zone here and we don't actually push down, like I said, we could come down towards this 5.541 at a 1-to-1, and that's looking at this as an A and a B and a C. So there is still potential that we could come down a little bit lower, but if we drop past this 5236 zone, I really wouldn't I would start be looking at this as a breakdown here where we get this as a 5-wave move, and then we'd be at least looking for a zigzag in my opinion, and they would be looking to push down much lower down and into these ranges. So we just got to give it a bit of time. Okay, I'm going to leave the video there. I hope everyone found it useful. If you did, please smash that like button. If it's the first time you've been watching Crypto Rosetta and you enjoyed what you saw, smash that subscribe button so you're kept up to date. Turn on those bell notifications and leave us some feedback down below. Interesting to hear what you guys think of the whole situation. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Hope everyone has a great day. We'll see you in the next video. Take care out there, everybody.